a mini iPad next to the bed or a mini tablet that you could go to the screen and shut that light off, right? Would you be more or less wowed than there was also a switch on the wall that when you push it, it shut the light off? Which would you do?
Or switch.
Right.
No voice-driven commands yet?
I haven't seen it. But there's a lot of George. That's honestly that one.
Yeah, and where can you put this automation actually? Not only do you allow that for the guests, but at the same time, now get a piece of the biggest, one of the biggest cost factors in your show, which is energy consumption. And where can you meld those together to be able to reduce your energy costs, but still provide Wi-Fi? Is where I think it's going to next in terms of the automation side.
We just installed some thermostat controls that run through our PMS that when a guest checks in, it turns the thermostat on and then allows them to adjust it to a certain range.
Right.
And then when they check out, it automatically reduces it to a certain temperature. And we did that more for our power consumption with the idea of saving between 200,000 and 250 year and a half as opposed to giving them control. And the only issue we've really had is a few guests say, well, I can't get it hot enough or I can't get it cold enough. But that's a rarity. So it was more about us than the guests.
We have a slide on energy management, so I'd like to come back to that because I actually have some questions.
Awesome. This is your slide. Tablets.
Yes.
I'm not exactly a fan of tablets in the room for that specific example that Ryan gave in terms of turning on, turning off stuff over the tablet versus a switch. Again, it's based on your demographic, based on your customer base. What are they going to do? What are you going to have them do? That's just in terms of how effective have the tablets been in the rooms. I think it's been more of a, wow, we have a tablet in the room, in every room, more than an active functionality it's bringing to the guest, in the guest room.
I think a lot of the companies that were selling them have really moved away from selling the tablets and moved to developing an app that works with your property, your PMS, and your point of sale. I mean, I've heard a lot of statistics from mostly vendors about, it drives more in-room food sales for food and beverage. Has anybody experienced that in real life?
Okay.
Thank you for your honesty.
The other problem you have there is that, again, you're competing, you're doing the arms race.
Right.
By the time that you get to the point of you convince your ownership to spend a couple $100,000 to deploy tablets, technology now is going to be antiquated 2 years from now, and now you're going to guest sacrifice. You're throwing old crappy tablets, and they probably have a better one in their hands.
Right.
Right, that's exactly what happens. So not only are you now you're providing a piece of equipment that will probably be obsolete in 12 to 18 months. You're also, the guest is probably not going to bring up their own content on that tablet. It's just and it's another, and then the theft and walking out, and the 18-year-old kid that just got his iPad 18, and you're still using the iPad 12, and It's a whole other piece. There's the next guess. It's archaic technology. Phones. Who's got a phone in the guest room? Exactly. So guest room phones, we all have them. My personal 3 cents on voice over IP phones is that in our general 3 to 4-star hotels, I will not purposely put VoIP to the guest room. I may cable it properly, but I'm not going to put an IP-based phone in the guest room. I'll put a standard phone in there that costs me $30, and guess what? The guest will be happy because they will use it anyway. Been in plenty of properties that have voice over IP phones. Phones will also control various things in the room and have nice big displays. right next to the bed, try finding the off button so you can sleep at night. Usually you can't, you end up getting your shirt over the display. That's my 2 cents on phones. Also, when we do diligence on a new property, I will typically still find old Hitachi, who's got an old Hitachi in their house.
ECX 2000.
Right. These things are just workhorses, and guess what? They still have dial tone. So,
Keep it simple.
right.
Don't spend a lot of money. There are hosting models that are coming out that will get better from a pricing standpoint. But the simple phone in the room with the guest call, guest phone service or from desk, it's basically.
And no matter what phone chart they put on the phone, I dial 0. Let somebody figure out how to get me where well, first of all, I can't read the damn numbers on the phone in the first place, but, you know, we think that it's a phone with a big 0 and a 911 button. But,
Gets you where you need to
you know,
go.
and this was actually that's a picture from the device that was in the HFTP guest room of the future that they do at high-tech. I think this year they call it skip year. We'll be back next year. But that was an old-fashioned intercom that you push a button and you get a live body down at the front desk. It was it was there to make a point, but we think it's, at the essence of it, it's where it's headed. And all the brands have moved away from requiring 2 lines, right, for the standard.
Energy management. So energy management, for us on a retrofit, depending on location, typically it hasn't, there hasn't been an ROI to it. Hotels that we've gone and looked at for acquisitions, the ones that have had energy management systems in them, built over the last, or installed over the last, say, 5 years. Some of the problems that have come to light on that is older systems required 110 volts in the guest rooms, and the guest would unplug it because there wasn't a power outlet at the top of the desk, rendering it useless. Guests would think that the little sensor in the guest room they think that that's a camera, so they call the front desk and complain. Or the system is just on faulty wiring and bad infrastructure. You're going to talk about infrastructure, and it's just unreliable. All of these things stem from really the beginnings of a poorly managed install to bad infrastructure for the hotel itself to not managing the system properly. If an energy management system is installed correctly and managed properly and used, interfaced to the PMS, I completely believe that you will save money on energy costs, HVAC costs if you're in a hot, humid climate and the doors stay open for no reason. Brian?
So one question, did you see an ROI on or is it too soon? You mentioned 250,000 savings.
They're beginning to see because there's a big push for green
Right.
at the university, so they're kind of monitoring it relatively closely. And we did it in the older guest rooms. So we found a company that was able to retrofit the older HVAC unit and had to wait for their new model to come out, but a model that they created that would hit those old ones. So they're starting to see some return on that, and when this 150 goes well, then they'll do the other 200 and something.
Can you override that?
Yes.
For the senior citizens at
Yes.
90 degrees?
Yep. It's a control from the front desk.
We've got the sliding door sensors where it shuts the air off, so most of our resorts are destination resorts. We're building air conditioning outside, shuts the AC off. Mostly keep the units from freezing up, working so hard that now you have a maintenance problem. We haven't really done it much from an energy savings, although the green. We have one resort in Montana that they actually meter the electricity and charge you for what you use. It's an old school thing. We're actually where we've had it, we've gotten rid of it except for one property. It's horrible. While you would think people would control it, we've had people unplug the AP access points for the Wi-Fi that service it through for our units because they don't want to pay the electricity for that device that's running. It's really absurd. So I don't recommend that. I can give you the other story. I'm sorry?
No use going.
Yeah. Northern England, yeah. Up in the lakes there, district.
But there's some basics, you know, you do in terms of, you know, we did a retrofit, which was a smart thing. So, you know, an occupancy sensor on it, so you can better control that, so you don't have to go do it for the revamp. We're playing with the master power in the room where you have to put your key, you know, take the key with you, and it turns off all the major components except for HVAC. We'll see how that plays in the US. In Europe, it's a pretty common thing to do.
Does anybody do it in the US?
Master key shut off, Guster?
I travel Europe a lot, and I'm still, as an ugly American, kind of turned off by it. You know, I end up sticking my credit card or some typically stations, casinos, gambling card that I have to have in my wallet. Something I don't care about if I forget it in there, so I don't have to deal with it. Will be hot when I get back.
I carry no key in.
Yeah, that's what the second key's for.
Yeah.
All right, RFID proximity, I think we.
Yeah, this is more for resorts that are using it for, we've seen some cool use of it with, by a water park resort. They're using it to, basically as a charging device, so the kids all get one, and they can charge it up with, 20 or 50 bucks, and then the kids can go around to a point of sale outlets and wind down the balance on it. They can identify where in the park. The parents can go over to these little kiosks, if you will, punch in their code and find out that Sally's over at the slides over there when they misplaced them. I know, using Starway as an example, you guys have done a lot in the past trying to figure out how to use it as guest recognition. We're playing with that a little bit where when we have our members on property, a little bit of the minority report kind of thing where we want to figure out how we can track them and better recognize them by name and use that in our sales process. We know a lot about them. We know where they're from. We know that they're teamed up with Ken on a sales presentation. You're both standing in front of a TV talking about a presentation. Why not make that TV return information that's specific to that member that's standing there? So we think there's ways to integrate it into, we're using it a lot for controlling all our fixed assets in our units where they can walk in and scan and make sure all the things that are supposed to be there are there. Those are some examples.
It has a big potential on, yes, and big, fill out the charge card, give it to kids and everybody else, use it, they do how much they're actually buying by using it.
Is there like ROI models for, like I heard resort and, so I'm thinking, the boats and the areas where all the potential for spend is high? Is that ROI model kind of shifted for different classes of hotels?
You haven't seen it, I haven't seen it aside from being in big resorts and water, one great role was the indoor water park. We tried it at my last company, we tried it at a Florida resort, but it didn't pan out in terms of ROI. Because we didn't have enough outlets to just
Right.
kind of spend.
Great Wolf is actually rolling out to most of every one of their properties. We used to be part of Great Wolf.
It makes perfect sense for them.
Disney's done something with it as well. That's like $12 billion, so you have to see that ROI model. You can make a model work any way you want to do.
Well, that takes us to the end. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Just an overall philosophical question. Do you ever, with the arms race trying to keep up with technology, do you ever see us getting back to